Hi, Elijah here. Before we get started, I'd like to shout out our top tier patrons. A big thank you to Nikki, Sean, Mace, Alan, Penny, Claire, Kit, the Jexbury guy, and Katie. If you would like a shout out and access to our bonus content, you can find us on patreon.com/dandiesindanger. For a one-time shout out, you can also support us on ko-fi.com/dandiesindanger. As always, the best way you can help us grow is to tell your friends, subscribe, leave a review, or leave a positive rating. Thank you all so much for listening. And now, on with the show.
Previously on Dandies in Danger.
The ring draws you with the knife towards the dress.
Perhaps I should destroy it. Perhaps it would free her.
Destroying the dress might be a good idea.
As you continue to tear into the green and the shreds of fabric fall away, you also see emerald green wallpaper being torn and shredded and ripped.
We need to go to Emily's room.
As we head down the echoing stairwell, that is whenever we hear footsteps rapidly ascending.
Mr. King?
Yes, it's me!
And does he have another brooch on him?
Yes.
He undoes it and then he throws it at the floor.
There's an emergency in the baths right now. I think I saw someone headed down there right now, and I need your help. We need to get down there. It was the Quinns.
Liam, see if you can rouse Daniel.
He bleary-eyed starts waking up.
I'm going with Adrian, and we're going to destroy the wallpaper, and I will use my shadow abilities to rejoin you both.
Through the shadows, you are able to pop up into the emerald room. Do you need something from me? Do you need my magic?
Can you tear some wallpaper off of your walls?
Adrian, Zachary's hand lights on fire, and he pushes it against the wall.
After the room has been cleansed of this wallpaper, she says, "Can you teach me how to do that?"
I'll tell you what, you stay, protect your father, and I will teach you the secret of the blue flame.
Right! Nathaniel is racing the three of us down the stairs. He opens the door, and he waves us all forward. Go, 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 go!
No,
absolutely not.
You are pushed into the bathhouse. Nathaniel slams the door shut behind him. Well, you've rather got egg on your face now.
Hi there, my name is Elijah, I use he, him pronouns, and I play the voice of Zachary Wilkos.
Hello, I'm Cass. My pronouns are she, her, and I voice Liam Bardsley.
Hi, I'm Chess, he, she, they, and I play Daniel Pritchard.
Hi, I'm Toast, pronoun she, they, and I play Adrian Edwards.
Daniel, this is the first you've seen of the hot spring, but you suspect that a few key elements may have changed since your friends bathed here earlier in the evening. The 8 statues, arrayed in a semicircle along the south wall, loom out of the darkness, faceless, unfeeling, each one brandishing a small orb of light in their outstretched palm. Unlike Zachary's light, these glow red, casting the room in an ominous hue. The heat and the stench are almost unbearable. You don't question for 1 second whether the bath is now filled with blood because the sour, musky scent of it is so heavy that it burns the inside of your nose. You can hear it rushing, churning even, but you aren't given much time to absorb your surroundings because Nathaniel has just locked the door behind himself. He reaches into his pockets as he speaks. I do hope you've enjoyed the party. That is what you've been calling it, no? Very discreet. About as discreet as involving a young woman who is a perfect stranger to you? He pulls his hands from his pockets to reveal that he is now wearing several rings. He raises his palms in the universal gesture of good faith. You've been looking for me, haven't you? Let's have a chat. What did you think about my collection in the attic? He approaches slowly, arms spread wide.
I'm afraid I didn't see much of it.
Oh, really? More's the pity. Come now, tell me, what did you hope to accomplish with all of this anyway? Just snooping about.
I think he's kind of looking in his peripherals to Liam, wondering like, are we gonna do something? Also, I want to say Daniel immediately went to Dorothea and is probably like over her, hand on shoulder or something. He's irate that this man, who he knows to be Busch, is first off disguised as Nathaniel. That's fucked up. And then also threw Dorothea by her hair. So he is irate and terrified. And he's kind of keeping eye on like Liam, just in case Liam makes a move, he'll be ready to do so as well. But right now he's talking to Busch.
Liam, meanwhile, has realized that something is wrong, and so he's holding on to the serrated knife. He's sort of moving closer so that he can sort of intercept Busch, because he's continuing to walk closer towards Daniel and Dorothea. Liam is sort of moving himself, and he's also holding up his hand to sort of push Busch away if he has to. Dorothea, you said that you maybe had your hand on her shoulder.
Yeah, I picture she was like thrown, so she's on the ground, and so he's kind of like kneeling on the ground with her. He probably helped her up.
Excellent. With your help, she stands, and she still has hold of her walking stick. You feel that she sort of disappears from under your hand, but you can hear her moving backwards behind you. So she's moving towards the changing screen. And as Busch gets closer, Liam actually sticks his hand out. He says, that's close enough there. Why don't you just stay where you are? Stop. We don't have to fight this out. Just stay there. Don't come any closer. Busch continues to approach, and he reaches out and he says, I completely agree. No need for senseless violence here. And he reaches out and he grabs Liam by his arm that he's stuck out. And he says, Audite et obedi. Why don't you lie down? And we are going to do contesting d20 rolls.
Oh, fuck.
Fortunately, I did some pre-rolling. Unfortunately, Busch got a nat 20 and Liam got a 1.
Holy
Wow.
shit.
When the spell succeeds, it lasts for 15 minutes.
Jesus.
That boy is gonna be floored.
The subject is fully conscious of being manipulated, but unable to react until the spell ends. So, Daniel, it's back to you. Busch looks at you, and he begins reaching backwards behind his back into his waistband.
Daniel rushes him.
Okay.
Whatever the fuck he's reaching for, he's not gonna let him do anything. He rushes him, and he's got his axe in his hand, ready to stick it in his throat.
Fantastic. Okay, so let's roll initiative. I'm gonna roll for Dorothea as well.
14.
Okay, the turn order is as follows. Daniel is first. You get to come in with that axe, baby. Dorothea is gonna be second, and then we're gonna have Busch. So let's go ahead. Daniel, do what you wanna do.
He wants to send that axe into his throat.
Go ahead and roll your attack. I don't believe you have any proficiency with axe, so this is just a d20 roll.
That's a nat 20.
Yo.
Oh, shit.
All right, fight's over.
Well, not so fast.
Now roll your damage, 2d8, and then add your attack.
4. I got a 4 again. So that's 8 plus 4 is 12.
Sick.
Very.
So Daniel comes in with the axe, and he's aiming right for that jugular. He's coming in for the death blow. He's not hesitating one more second after he sees Liam drop.
I imagine he's coming in for Busch's left, like shoulder meets the neck sort of thing, like chop.
You see a sort of a flash of surprise at your sudden movement in his eyes, and as it hits, it's hard to tell right away what's happened because he staggers backwards, but you see a ripple of light, very much like what had affected you earlier whenever the dog bit you. And he just looks at you for a second, and he sort of regains his composure after a moment, and he goes, "Thought you were the only one with shield."
He smiles and he says, "She's coming, you know."
And at that moment, Dorothea rushes in. That might not be who you were referring to, but Busch is certainly surprised whenever he feels another impact at his legs. Dorothea strikes out with her walking stick, and the shield ripples again. He takes no damage to his leg quite yet, and he mostly just looks irritated. And now, Lord Busch pulls out a dagger, and in his other hand you see he has a small piece of sulfur. He strikes them against each other and says, "Ignem arma mea protege."
Ooh.
And his blade is now alight. And he is able to hit Daniel.
Well, I've still got my shield.
So the base damage is 7.
Not a problem.
Well, hold on just a moment. It's multiplied by 3 when it's inflamed.
21.
Jesus.
Yes. Now, this is a spell that Chess wrote, just so as you know. So it is the damage is
Why'd I do
multiplied
that?
by 3 when it's inflamed.
What?
You thought that we were going to be the ones using this, so you were probably trying to help us out. But the damage is multiplied by 3.
Oh, all right, we'll roll with it. 21.
Mm-hmm.
So that got rid of my shield and ate a bit into me. So Daniel has 25 hit points. So his shield, the last bit of light explodes, and it's gone.
You see this face, which still looks like Nathaniel's face, twist into a very smug expression. You can tell by the way he's handled this knife that this is not the first time. He is very well versed in handling this blade. As the knife cuts across you, I imagine you maybe throw up an arm to sort of block.
I think he would try to block with the axe, kind of instinctively how he would block with a sword, but the axe is much smaller.
Got it. Okay, then part of it cuts across your arm and it burns as it hits your skin. So now we're going to go back to Adrian and Zachary. Hey guys, how you feeling?
Okie dokie.
Yeah?
I hope they're doing well downstairs.
I'm sure they're fine.
Yeah, I wouldn't worry about it.
I mean, it's just the Quins.
All right, the two of you we left off in Emily's room and you were about to go downstairs. I would like both of you to roll wisdom, please.
I got a 10.
I got a 7.
Are the two of you stepping out into the hall?
He's gonna say to Adrian, just like, I think we should rejoin the others. I don't like being separated for too long, but is there anywhere else you want to go?
No, we should get down there, I think.
So that's where I'm going to come in with your wisdom rolls. You can hear someone approaching the hallway. You hear a voice call out, and it is Mr. Keene. Hello, Mr. Edwards.
Mr. Keene?
Mr. Edwards, is that you?
Adrian goes to the door and opens it up.
Mr. Keene is there in the hallway. He's looking around very cautiously. He's by himself. He hasn't brought Miss Audley with him. You never came back. I was a little worried about you.
Well, did you perhaps hear the altercation in the stairwell?
I heard that, and then I came out because I heard knocking on this floor, and
I think you need to get back in your room.
he stops for a second, and he holds up his hand, and he goes, shh, 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 shh.
Excuse you.
And he got a nat 20 on his wisdom roll. He turns and he looks between the two of you, and he points up, and he shakes his finger a little bit, and he says, I think the Quins are in danger.
We've been told this by Mr. King. He said they were going downstairs to the bath.
He looks at you very perplexed. No, I heard Mrs. Quinn just now. She was trying to get her husband to wake up.
Oh, no.
She seemed quite distressed. And can't you hear Miss Colby down in the hall in the other wing?
No. I've had a lot going on. Can I do another roll to see if I hear anything?
Yes, now that he's pointed it out, you are both welcome to do another roll and add your wisdom.
I have a nat 20.
Sick, thank you. I got 9.
You can't really hear anything. You maybe hear a little bit of a commotion, Adrian, but you really can't pinpoint where it's coming from. It seems like maybe it's coming from the floor above, but you can't quite narrow it down. Zachary, nat 20. You can hear Ida. Their room is actually right above where you all are standing in the hallway right now. You can just very faintly hear her saying, Nevin, darling, wake up. And you can hear on this same floor, but in the east wing, a commotion happening where you hear Miss Colby's voice in great distress. She's saying, Leave me alone. Edwin, go away. Just go away, please. Edwin, leave me alone. You hear knocking happening as well in the east wing.
Oh my god. Who did our friends go to save?
What do we do? Who do we go to?
Me!
Should we split up?
No, absolutely not.
But if...
Adrian,
What?
why would Nathaniel say that the Quins are downstairs when they're clearly in their room?
He was confused?
No, he knows everybody in this house. It is his job to keep tabs on everybody. Something is wrong.
Hell. Well, I don't...
Liam and Daniel might be in danger.
But what about the people on this floor who are in danger?
Everybody's in danger until we're able to get down there and stop whatever is happening.
What if you go down, I and Mr. Keene go to look after Miss Colby? She's right here on this floor.
That seems like a terrible idea.
I want to do it. I have to do it.
Is this really what you want?
Yes. I'll have Mr. Keene. He looks big and strong.
He looks at Mr. Keene. His eyes are a little terrified. He doesn't really want to leave Adrian's side, but he's looking for confirmation from Keene that he is capable.
Mr. Keene doesn't have any weapons.
Adrian hands the hammer over.
Great.
Mr. Keene takes the hammer.
No, this is a bad idea.
I'm going. I'm sorry.
Adrian,
You have magic, I don't have anything. Me and Mr. Keen can try to overpower Mr. Flynn. You have magic, you're most useful downstairs more than me.
Shit. All right. Please be careful.
I'll do my best.
He does a little jump into the shadows.
He salutes.
Excellent. We're going to follow Adrian and Mr. Keen for a while. You are currently on the first floor, which is the same floor where you saw Miss Colby go into her room. The two of you take off. I assume you're going at a pretty good clip, yes?
I'm hobbling along as fast as I can.
That's right. You are still quite poorly off.
Yeah.
And Mr. Keen sort of gives you the once-over as you're walking down, and he says, I heard you shouting earlier.
Yes, terrible running with the dogs.
I saw. And as you're running, you walk past the corpse of that dog that is on this first floor, one of the first taxidermy dogs that you defeated. And you round the corner heading towards the east wing. And he says, well, and he kind of slaps you on the back a little bit. He says, I'm glad you're alive.
Yeah, me as well.
As you come towards the main central foyer of the first floor, you hear yet another set of voices. This time, you hear Father Underwood. Colonel, we have to go back to our room. This is not a good idea. I don't know what you think you're going to do with that.
Father!
You're going to make things worse.
Colonel!
And then you hear the Colonel saying, well, I can't just stand by and do nothing while I can hear that poor woman screaming down in the floor below us. And you see Colonel coming down. Father Underwood is pulling on one of his elbows, trying to keep him from heading down the stairs. Colonel Gurney has a gun in his hands.
Like shotgun or?
Like a handheld gun.
Okay.
He's coming down with a gun in his hands, and Beatrix Todd is sort of slinking behind them, looking very put out. As soon as Colonel Gurney sees you, Adrian, his eyes light up, and he says, ha ha, good to see that there are still some people who see some sense and want to make a difference. You heard the racket, And
yes, as a doctor, I am duty bound.
Right, well, let's go take care of this. And Mr. Keen sort of like stands back a little bit whenever he sees that Colonel Gurney has a gun and lets Colonel Gurney take point. But Father Underwood is quite distressed and he keeps trying to pull him back. But as you come around towards the east wing, at the very end of the hall, you can hear them before you can see them. You can hear Mr. Flynn speaking in what seems like a fairly equitable tone. He's knocking on the door at a reasonable volume, and he says, I need the necklace back, Virginia. I have a duty as a husband. It's my wife's necklace. I don't know how many times I have to tell you this. We can't keep seeing each other now. I have to go back to my family. Give me the necklace, Virginia. And you can hear Virginia saying, You're not opening this door. I saw you leave your room, and I heard gunshots, and I heard Mr. Edwards. I heard him screaming. You've murdered him. I'm not opening this door, no matter what you tell me. And she sounds quite distraught.
So are we all at the end of the hall and we can see Edwin?
You are walking down the end of the hall. Again, this is a several feet long hallway, and you can't quite see him because it's completely dark. You can only hear their voices.
Well, he doesn't actually sound like he's attacking her, but shall we draw his attention off? He says this to the Colonel and Mr. Keen, mostly.
The Colonel charges ahead, and he's got his gun out, and he says, I say,
Colonel.
You leave that woman alone. Go back to your room, sir. This is ungentlemanly behavior. I don't know what your entanglement is, but by God, I'm going to stop it. Back to your room, sir. And he is storming down the hallway.
If there are no fans of the Colonel, I'm dead.
Mr. Keen is staying towards the back, and
You've got the hammer, sir.
He looks down at it, and he's like, oh, yes, well, I'm more of a journalist than a carpenter.
Well, give it back.
Than a carpenter.
He sort of hands you back the hammer.
Adrian hobbles off after the Colonel.
Father Underwood says, don't encourage this behavior. He's not well.
You stay back, Father. We'll take care of this.
Beatrix Todd sort of tucks through her teeth. She says, doing all right, good job calming down this situation. Nice job de-escalating there, all right. And she just sort of starts trying to, like, scoot back towards the back of the group. And she ends up sort of bumping into Mr. Keen as she scoots back. And so she sort of begrudgingly follows with the group. You are able to get to the end of the hallway. Edwin Flynn turns around, and he's looking at all of you very placidly. Ah, yes. Terribly sorry for the rude interruption of your evening. I'll be gone just as soon as I retrieve one of my personal belongings from Miss Colby.
Are you bewitched?
He just sort of frowns at you and says, "No, I'm a married man."
Oh, so you're just an asshole.
"That's not very polite, sir."
What are you doing knocking on a woman's door at, God knows, in the morning?
"I've made a grave error and I've come to rectify it."
Well, you can't. Sorry.
Oh, he hadn't considered that. Adrian's got him there.
Okay, you hear Miss Colby from the other side of the door. Adrian, is that you?
Yes, barely.
Did he hurt you?"
Not this one.
And you hear silence from the other side of the door for a moment.
You got every right to yell at him, though.
I'm not going to unlock the door.
Don't. You need to stay safe in there.
Colonel Gurney is getting more and more agitated as Mr. Flynn continues to refuse to go back to his room. Mr. Flynn continues to stand there for a moment, but you're interrupted when he suddenly doubles over, clutching his chest.
Oh no. Oh shit, I'm the doctor.
You can see now, for a brief moment, you see a flash of light, threads spreading sort of like they're anchored in his lungs as he doubles over in pain. And now we're going to jump back down to the bathhouse. So we're going to do one more round before we let Zach jump into the fray here.
Is it okay to say that Zachary has one pit stop before then?
Certainly.
He dips back into the closet where they picked up the hammer originally, because that's where he discarded the piece of glass that he had been fighting with. And so he's going to pick that up and add it back to his inventory.
Perfect. Okay, Zach. Once you get into this hall, once again you are pushed out of the shadows as you were the first time you tried to come down here, and it seems to be related to that one particular object that has these threads ribboning out from it, all in different directions. Like it's too powerful for you to just zip through in the shadows. What would you like to do in order to get yourself into the hot spring?
Zachary takes the piece of glass and he remembers the bound soul to the armor and remembers that the blood also saved it. So he has a bit of a hypothesis. He doesn't think this is going to fully work, but he does cut his hand and places it on the clock.
Okay, I love where you're going with this. Let me set the stage for you a little bit more. The clock is set in a little bit of a cutout in the wall. So it's actually quite high up. If you want to get to it, if you want to reach this clock, you are going to have to climb up the statue that's standing in front of it.
So how high is the statue?
It's about 8 feet tall.
Okay, so it's not Michelangelo's David, but it's big.
The cutout in the wall, it's basically like if you had a window between rooms, but there's no glass in it. It's sort of a little half-circle cutout in between the hot spring and the Great Hall. In fact, since it's open, you might be able to hear a little bit about what's going on inside. You might be able to hear a little bit of scuffling happening in there as the fight goes on between Daniel, Dorothea, and Lord Busch.
Well, right now he doesn't know that Liam's incapacitated, so he's thinking that if he unlatches this, it's going to be a big hit against Busch. Mm-hmm. So he wants to figure this out in order to help them. He's like, this is the problem, and that is not going up against that right now is not going to fix anything. So I guess, shoot, I shouldn't have had him cut his hand. I literally thought it was just like a grandfather clock.
We can retcon this.
Okay, because I want him to climb the statue first. So.
Yeah. This statue, there's a very subservient figure kneeling in front of the kingly figure. So if you want, I'm not going to make you roll to climb up it. Mm-hmm. It should be fairly straightforward. It's dark, but You should be able to do it.
He gets up on the subservient back, and he reaches up and takes the king's arm and pulls himself up. And then he kind of hangs in a way where he's kind of wrapping his arms and legs around the king, and he takes the knife and cuts his palm with and then he reaches up and sticks it on the clock.
The closer you get to this clock, the more you're able to see it, but the more the migraine that's pounding in your skull begins to hurt.
Right, because this affected Zachary really strongly.
And as you touch the clock, I would like you to roll a d12, please.
11. Cool, alright.
Okay. Roll me a d4.
1.
You take 1 point of damage as you fall off of the statue because your whole body system goes into shock whenever your mind and, in fact, your spirit are overwhelmed by the presence of 11 other souls all at once. It's a heady and powerful feeling. You think that with a little practice, you could tap into this, but 11 of them all at once. You just touched the main body of the clock. 11 of these roots all at once is completely overwhelming. The first one you feel is Edwin Flynn. And you make this connection with him. You have a kind of shocking moment as you realize that you're having a piece of his memory as he hands over this beautiful necklace to Miss Virginia Colby. And she's sort of half-dressed still, and she's giving him these eyes. And you see through his eyes, you can see that she's just beautiful, and she's just eating this up, and you feel powerful, and you feel sexy. But through Zachary's eyes, you have a little bit of distance. You can see there's a little bit of disdain in her eyes as she looks at him, and triumph whenever she takes this necklace. Next, you feel a connection with Rosamond. You see her in a very emotional moment as she is standing in her wedding dress earlier this morning, and she is trembling, and she is holding one of her sisters, and she's saying, I'm not ready, I don't know who he is, I can't do this. And her sister is comforting her and saying, oh, you'll fall into it naturally, it's all right, everything is fine. And Rosamond shouts out, you don't understand, I can't do this. And you feel her despair at the weight of expectations that are falling upon her for this. Immediately it jumps to the next person, and these connections start to come faster. You get a flash of Molly as she was here. You see the man that she had come with. You see him walking towards the door, saying, oh, don't worry, I'll go check out what the noise was. Be back in just a minute. And you see him walk out, never to come back. You see Johnny Gardner. He's an 80-year-old man, and you sort of feel the deep sadness as his family turns him away and says, so sorry, you've worked for us for so many years, but we cannot work with you anymore. You know, you just can't keep up with the flower beds like you used to. And his desperation at realizing he has no livelihood, no backup after this. You briefly touch the soul of Constance Cassell. You see her saving up money to move to France to live with her grandmother. You see Johan Bale, who's sharing pamphlets with his community about the Grand National Consolidated Trades Union. He's a draper, and he wants all tradesmen to work together, to work towards a common goal and to unite forces. This is the very start of the sort of trades union movement, and he's right at the cutting edge of it. And you touch all of these souls very quickly, and when you can finally come to it after 11 souls, you finally come back to it on the floor at the foot of the statue. And now, we're back in the bathhouse. Okay, Daniel, what would you like to do?
I think he's gonna take a page out of Adrian's book and try to tackle him.
Oh, yeah.
And try to wrest away control, like grab his wrist with the dagger and shit. But first he wants to knock him down.
Okay.
Tried and true method.
You never should have doubted him, and I'm being 100% honest about that.
D20?
Yes.
That's a 19.
Daniel, you are successful in knocking him down to the ground. If you want to try to make the grapple with his hand, I'll say you can go ahead and do that.
Awesome. So yeah, he tackled him down and then is sitting on him and is pinning him down and trying to grab his right hand to like pin him and keep him from using that blade.
Fantastic. So go ahead and give me a d20.
That was a 10, but I want to use one of my luck.
Ooh, very nice.
Oh, that was a 5.
Damn.
You're actually good.
All right, with the 10?
You got it, yeah. So with a 10, you got it. He's very shocked that you, as wiry as you are able to pin him down to the ground. And Dorothea is going to come up to help make this attack as well.
Smash his head.
Smash his head.
Okay, so while you've got him pinned, she comes up and she lets out a guttural scream as she's coming in to help with this. Okay, she got a moderate success. Dorothea comes in. Absolutely, she is going for his head. She is just bringing this down, and she manages to do 6 damage. Yes. And it's in such a way that his face actually, he looks terrified for a split second whenever she brings that walking stick down on his head. He looks like he's about to piss himself.
Yeah!
So terrified is he. But you see that ripple across his face that protects him.
Whittling it down.
You're whittling it down. Way to go. And now it is his turn. And you said that you're pinning the dagger arm, right? The knife arm?
He's sitting like on his torso, I would say. And then he's like using both hands to... I think he'd try to get... Well, this is the most dangerous hand. I think if he's having trouble pinning Busch's right hand with one hand, then he's going to try to use both. But if not, then he's pinning both hands.
I think you would have to use both hands to pin the knife hand.
Okay, then Busch still has a free hand, unfortunately.
Okay. After the moment of fear passes across his face, he seems really irritated that you sort of startled him in that way. And he says through clenched teeth, "Fulker." And you can see his opposite hand. He jabs it up into Daniel's ribs, and you can feel something beginning to charge there. It takes a full turn for Lightning Ball to be cast, but that's how he uses his turn. That's how he started it.
Daniel knows exactly what that is because, remember, I had to take Lightning Bolt once, so Daniel knows the words and is very familiar with what's going to happen, so his eyes widen.
Oh god.
It is Daniel's turn. We're at the top of the round. First, I'm going to jump back to Zach very briefly to see, Zach, what's your next move?
So Zachary is on the floor. He just saw all of those flashes. Does he feel anything attached to him as he comes to?
No. What you see is that it's almost like the threads are sort of drifting down towards you, as if they had been connected to you and they are within reach of you, but they are not connected to you. You have no thread connected to this clock. So you are not affected by this, but it seems like, sort of like whenever an anemone reaches out towards you in a tide pool. That's what these threads are doing as you sort of made that connection with them. They're still sort of floating over you in the air.
Yeah, Zachary's like, this is it. This has got to be the way to do it. It's something about the blood, and he's not powerful enough, but probably the boar's blood might be. And right now, the boar's blood is in the bathhouse. But then it might tie it to the boar.
Could try calling on the boar.
I have a scrying mirror. Did you know that? Did you know I had a scrying mirror?
That's pretty cool.
I did. I do have a scrying mirror. It's on me.
Is scrying mirror in the spells, or is that a specific item?
It's an inventory.
It's an item that you can...
Black reflective surface. Specific cells can be infused. Can be used to check on / seek audience with demon and angels.
Yeah, so
When did you get this? This is really cool. Who gave you that?
This was an R3, but I brought it for this one.
He bought it from Maggot.
Okay. Very cool. I love this. This is very cool. I love it. Please do surprise me with these things, because that's cool as shit.
And I've thought to bring it out several times, but I never quite had the chance. So knowing that he needs more help, more time, he reaches into his coat, pulls out the scrying mirror, sets it on the ground, and looks into the black reflective surface, and thinks real hard about the boar demon.
It doesn't take any time at all before you see those 2 small pinpricks of light, the same as what you saw before, and you hear a sort of satisfied rumble. It's mostly in your head that you hear this.
Yes?
It's you. Perfect. We found Busch.
Oh, I know where he is. I need you to get rid of his roots.
I've found where it's located. I think it has something to do with the blood. I tried using my own blood to unleash the souls. I need more blood, though.
The eyes just sort of hover there in the blackness of the mirror.
I need more blood from you if you can get it to me.
Tell me what it is you intend to do. Are you intending to use the power of these souls as your own in order to increase your magic as Busch has done?
What?
That's why Busch has them here. An easy source of power that he can draw upon, ultimately to defeat me. That's why I need you to get rid of them. Release them, kill them, it makes no difference.
Yes, no. I want to return them to their original bodies. I don't want any power.
Not the wisest course of action, perhaps. Not the most cunning. But I'm afraid I must disappoint you. These are not blood-hungry ghosts. By virtue of what Busch has done to them, they are still alive. Your blood, my blood, it doesn't matter. Unless you wanted to kill them. That would be the fastest way.
No.
And then you would rob Busch of his power, and I would be free to reclaim him.
I'm sorry, I can't just sacrifice innocent people for the feud of a few.
Suit yourself. I'll come back once you've figured this out.
He lets her leave. Am I able to do anything else?
No.
Okay.
Good show, though. I really liked that.
Thanks.
Before we jump back into combat, we are going to jump back up to the first floor in the East Wing, because as soon as Edwin doubles over from having had Zachary touch his soul, Colonel Gurney takes the butt of his gun and pistol whips him across the head.
Yo, bitch!
Oh my god, says Adrian.
And I'm gonna see how much damage.
Adrian is gonna, go to Edwin and make sure he hasn't just been, killed. He has some anxiety about head wounds.
Huh, I wonder why.
I don't know.
It knocks Edwin over for 6 damage on that, which is a pretty stunning blow. He reels back and he ends up on his knees, and you say Adrian goes over to him. He looks like he's been quite badly hurt. You know, head wounds bleed a lot, as Adrian might be familiar. Colonel Gurney is breathing very hard and is sort of swaying a little bit in the spot, and he says, "Well, that's what you get. You should have gone back to your room."
All right, Colonel, perhaps have a sit down. Thank you, you've done wonderfully. Perhaps have a seat. I will tend to the man.
Roll me a d20.
Okay. 12.
Edwin got a 15, so he's going to rise, and as he rises, he pushes you off of him, and he's...
rude? So rude.
And he's going to rush towards the Colonel.
Colonel, look out.
You hear a gunshot ring out and briefly illuminates the hallway. Edwin goes down, and you can see in that flash of darkness, it was actually Beatrix who took the shot the second that Edwin charged towards the Colonel. And as Edwin crumples to the ground and starts clutching his foot, she strides up to Colonel Gurney. She sticks out her hand and she says, "All right, I reckon we're even now. Can I have that key back?"
Liked what you heard? Let us know by using hashtag #DandiesInDanger over on our Twitter, Insta, Tumblr, and TikTok in the listed links below. We'd love to hear any and all comments, questions, and theories as to where the story might be headed. Want to support us and our lads' adventures more directly? Then please consider clicking on the link and becoming a patron today. For just $1, you can gain access to our longer, uncensored outtakes and blooper reels. For $5, you can have access to exclusive stickers, in-world letters written by and for the lads, poetry by Adrian and Daniel, and original music from the show composed and scored by Chess Albanese. Can't afford to support directly? No problem. Podcasts survive by word of mouth, so if you like what you heard, tell your friends, family, and local graveyard ghosts all about these exciting tales. Thank you, and we'll see you next time. Dandies in Danger is written and voiced by Elijah Bergateris as Zachary Wilkos. Cast as Liam Bardsley, Chess Albanese as Daniel Pritchard, and Toast as Adrian Edwards. It is edited by Toast. Original score and music composed by Chess Albanese. It is produced by Dandies team, and made possible by listeners like you.